All right, humour in football is something we all love, and I think when we speak of the could-have-been champions, that name is synonymous with humour in footy as it stands today. And Sandy Roberts had the, I think, rather pleasant task of catching up with the could-have-beens only recently for a day in their lives. Here it is.
Right, now we'd like to welcome to the 3AW microphone Sandy Roberts.
Come in, San. From the Albert Park Oval too.
Direct from the Albert Park ground, and I'm probably in a unique situation because I'm one of the few people, if on some dark, dingy nights where alcohol is served and you're listening to people like Coves and Tony, a phrase late in the evening tends to ring through, and that is, we made him, didn't we? Well, I'm a little upset because I don't think I'm in that category.
No, unfortunately from Adelaide, I don't think we've actually bunked you up. In fact, I think
you're self-made.
I think by your own help at the Mount Gambier races, Sandy.
I've just lost a lot of money.
Why's that?
Because someone said to me during the week, I said, "Oh, Sandy's coming in on Saturday." They said, How much do you want to bet that by the second question you'll mention Mount Gambier?
Yeah. You know, you're speaking of great people, and you've got to put Kevin Sheedy in that mould. You guys started when Sheedy started.
That's correct.
Sheedy, of course, now, as we know, has basically in equine terms come from behind and is looking very, very good.
Yes.
The could-have-beens, I think, can probably, the same thing could be said of you. You've won the ratings. Is by any chance contract time?
Yeah,
I mean,
coming up.
You've got to be looking at something.
We let other people.
You're in a superb position
We
now,
know
aren't
the
you?
contracts don't really mean that much.
We don't think about that sort of thing. There's other people do that.
And
We've got Ricky Nelson doing it for us.
No.
Coves and Tony, how did it start?
Well, it started actually with Simon Whelan and Jeff Richardson having the idea to do a show from a fan's perspective. And in those days, in 1981, I was based in Geelong and used to be on the phone, and I'd never even met them.
And so, Tony, how did you come into it?
1982 for me. I had a mate of mine, Ron Main, who was a plumber, who did the VFA report and invited me to come along one day, and sure enough came along one day, and the VFA report sort of grew. In fact, it had four, Phil Cleary and also George Stone. Stoney now, of course, up helping Rod Eade out, or probably knifing Rod Eade at the moment, and Phil Cleary just organising all the anti-Republican, anti-monarchists at the moment. And
the true story is that Tony came in with his mate Ron Main and knifed Ron Main.
Oh, that's not true. Ronnie, in fact, Ronnie and I, we go to the football every week.
I haven't seen Ron Main for 15 years, Sandy.
That is just...
Tony took over to do one segment and within 3 weeks was hosting the show.
And seriously, a question for you guys. Have you built up, I mean, you have built up a cult following, but do you still get people that were contacting you 18 or 19 years ago? I mean, do you become like family? Do they stay in touch? And you say, you get your mail during the week, oh, not another one from him, or...
There's a lot like that. Actually, they're not writing into saying, we won the dozen bottles in the competition in 1984 and we still haven't got them.
What was the brief? What was the idea of the program? What was the aim? Besides, of course, to sweep all before you in the ratings.
No, it was to come on, it was to talk about it from the fans' perspective, because all the TV shows were full of people who used to play. We pride ourselves on the fact we haven't played the game, but we've seen a few.
And I'm not really heavily into any football team. I have a leaning towards St Kilda because my father, when we were on the farm, brought me up listening to guys like Big Carl Dittrich on the radio on a Saturday afternoon, and that's the extent of it.
Well, I don't want to say too much to our listeners out here, but I have heard the names Roberts and President and St Kilda all just sort of...
In the one sort of sentence.
Tied together there, and I'm quite sure the Whale, when he gets down there, will do an absolutely magnificent job.
He used to watch World of Sport, and Geelong had a bad day, and you think Bob Davis was at the Geelong game, he'll defend Geelong, and he would try hard to, but he was held down by Lou and Jack, and you'd be screaming at the telly, stick up for him, Bobby! And so we thought we've got to go on there and stick up for our own clubs.
Sandy, at this point in the program, we take a break and then we normally do Tony's footy talk back. Now, how'd you like to just sit in and take the calls with Tony?
I think it's an essential part of the program. It'd be an honour.
Oh, is Sandy there, mate?
Yeah, Sandy's there, Massive.
Listening, Massive, how are you?
Thanks, mate. What's happening?
Well, the wheels haven't fallen totally off, but the engine's in a spot of bother, isn't it?
Oh, mate. Well, first of all, there was Jelly EE.
Jelly.
Lost the pliers.
Yeah.
Had to flick him. Then there was Kenny. He lost the pliers and had to flick him. Stanny lost the pliers. I reckon the whole damn club ought to lose the pliers. Has Timmy lost the pliers yet?
Well, we call him Tim, actually, Massive.
Tim,
Not Timmy.
I'm going to change my name too to Mass.
Well,
Rightio.
Don't call me Massive.
basically, you're just a group of mates that get together, and you are all good mates.
We are good mates.
Yes, we are. Although we don't knock around together.
Yeah. Are you going to interview the other boys separately later? Because they'll probably say they're mates as well, but Tony and I can't stand them, quite frankly.
And in fact, to be perfectly truthful, we actually carry them. You are looking at Wayne Carey, and you are looking at Gary Abler, the could have been. Hello.
Hello, Tony.
Yes.
Is Sandy there, Tony?
Yes, it is.
Hello, Sandy.
Yes, hello, who's speaking, please?
Oh, it's been a long time, Sandy.
Can you identify yourself, please?
It's Leanne.
Hello, Leanne.
No, it's not really. It's really Helen for Tony.
Hello.
I
Yes.
thought that'd make you smile, Sandy.
Well, actually, Helen, you're right, and I must admit I have listened over the years to you ringing Tony, and I've often wondered your true feelings, and perhaps now that just the two of us are having a bit of a chat like this, you might like to express them to me.
Well, Sandy, I was always into blondes, except when, well, I thought Tony, after the last 20 years of broadcasting and starting at Triple R, might have mentioned his real highlight.
What was that?
No, he didn't.
Well, it was, remember the Saturday morning, Tony, I was working behind the bar at the hotel in Johnson Street after the program.
Yeah.
And you walked in the curter.
In the what?
The cheesecloth top. The embroidery.
It's a long time ago.
You had a beard, sunglasses, Tony, packet of Cravenet in the Sporting Globe.
Yeah.
And that is.
And I remember you said to the boys you were with, I just wish John Schultz was back in the side today.
that is an absolute nut.
And Tony.
What?
You came up to the bar and you looked at me and said, darling, can I have some change for the cigarette machine? You ordered a pot, put your Sporting Globe on the bar, and it's been like that ever since, Tony, hasn't it?
Just popping the newspaper down.
And Sandy.
Yes, Helen.
I just want to say to you, too, that if it wasn't for Tony, I'd have stuck to blondes, and I love you too.
Oh, for goodness. Get rid of her.
And you guys, you're happy to roll along. You're winning the ratings. You're obviously on extraordinarily huge contracts. I mean, life's just pretty good.
Well, we just love talking about footy, and as long as there's footy, and it's going to happen for a lot longer. I mean, the footy's never been bigger, and while there's footy there to talk about, we'll talk about it.
Oh, we were playing footy for the Coulter Beans in our annual match against Tullamarine. We were getting flogged. Things were pretty crook. When someone yelled out, take a good hard look, everybody. Well, we TTC, turn the corner, had an RHG, a red hot go. Well, we OTFG, open the floodgates. We got BIT, back in town. Now we LOG, lifted our game. Took a good hard look at ourselves. Coach came out, OUT, said JG, just go. We made a BS. Big statement. It's a WNBG. Whole new ball game. Your LDB.
Looking down the barrel.
And take a good hard look at yourselves.
The Could-have-beens, and a great addition to football, and this can be a great addition to your football library too. It's called Songs of the Century. We often get phone calls, people asking, what's that music? Can I buy it? On here you'll find things like Up There Kazali, One Day in September, the theme to the Masters Golf, the theme to TV Ringside, the Old World of Sports theme, etc, etc. It's Songs of the Century, and it's around about $24 at all good music stores. Now, speaking of footy, after the footy season finishes, there's still more. Don't go away. Australia versus Ireland, match 1, Friday the 8th of October at the MCG. You can book through Ticketmaster. And the second game in the International Series takes place in South Australia. It's at Footy Park 1 week later, Friday the 15th of October, and you can book your tickets for that match through Bass. Australia and Ireland, and that takes place in October. We're, of course, celebrating the final day here at Waverley. We have had some magnificent moments here, and just looking out at the crowd, it really is going to be a bumper crowd this afternoon. Absolutely ideal conditions for football between Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans, and look at it there. Of course, it's going to be a glorious day, glorious moments. I guess probably one of the not so glorious moments occurred here the night when the lights went out, and that caused all sorts of confusion. Poor old Malcolm Blight, I think, was hosting for the first time. Let's take a check on one of Waverley's not so glorious moments in 1996.
They lead by that bare margin, 20 points, but in the context, hello, we might really have a...
Well, amazingly here at Waverley in round 10, St Kilda playing Essendon in Saturday night football. there has been some sort of power failure. 5 minutes or 4 minutes 47 seconds to go of the third quarter. The Bombers were leading by 20 points and the whole place is in darkness.
SCT took a good hard look